Bobby Lopez here, and as you know, these snow poles have become so popular. I've probably got a dozen of them in my bag. Don't go get them at a golf store. You know, once it got popular out there, the real original version was the one you get at a hardware store, like Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever. And sure enough, the golf stores, you know, they start selling them. And it's $25. You can go get it at Lowe's for $1.59. So go get and I like the ones at the hardware store better anyway, quite frankly. But you can always just throw one down, you know, for your alignment rather than putting a club. I mean, with everything you're doing with these clubs here, we used to do with golf shafts anyway. The real advantage is these are soft and they're flexible. If you hit it, chances are you're not going to do any harm to you or your golf club. Chances are. I'm not saying it's 100%, but a whole lot better. I personally like putting down at least the two. Why? Because after I hit a shot, I can see whether my divot is square with the two clubs right there. If my divot is to the side, this way, then I know I'm probably rotating my chest too early and swinging across. If I get the opposite reaction and my divots are here, I know I'm probably coming in too low and shallow, probably hitting behind the ball. But that's just the very, very simple version there. To just put two sticks down, get behind it, make sure they're properly aligned. Alignment is so important. I mean, why practice your swing and not know where you're aligned? You leave most touring pros, you'll see them when they're practicing, they've got something on the ground, whether it's a golf club or whatever. Now, you can get a little more elaborate here. Here I've added two more sticks. This one's a little bit crooked here. Probably should be there. So now I've got something to give me as a guide as far as taking the club straight back and up, and also on the follow through. And again, I'm going to look at my divots and see where they are and make sure they're parallel to the two sticks that are on the ground. And I try and hit the golf ball right up the stick. Okay? I'm trying to hit my ball right up the stick. By the way, place kickers in football will do some of these drills because so much is alignment. With Fuad Reves, when he was teaching my son, he was an excellent kicker from the Minnesota Vikings, remember, and the Miami Dolphins and the San Diego Chargers. But he would tie a rope to the goalpost all the way to the left side where the goalpost is like this. And I'm telling you this because it would actually help you with the golf game. You would tie the rope right here and bring it down 7 yards, stick it to the ground, and you have to kick the ball up the rope and hit the pole. Very target conscious. Now, let's see some other. Here's looking at it from this sideways view, and you'll see I've also placed a stick here for ball position between your feet. Me personally, I don't use that, and I probably should. I probably should, but I'm very much a field player, and I move the ball around in my stance quite a bit. I don't play at the same place every time. I take into consideration what the lie is, what the condition of the grass is. Is it wet? If it's wet, I'm probably going to move the ball a little further back on my stance than I normally would. If it's sitting up, I might put a little more forward. You know, so I finagle so much that I don't want to have a stick sitting there showing me where I don't put the ball in the same place. Right. I'm not saying that's right, and probably for most of you that's a bad idea. Now here's even a little more elaborate. We've got, you know, you're going to hit it up the stick. You've got a stick straight back for your swing there. Here's the sticks on either side. You can check your divots. Here's your ball position stick. And then here I've got one for the path. Very similar to doing like what Vijay Singh is doing right here. See, he's got a bottle of water and he's got a shaft. Now, I don't recommend using a golf shaft. I mean, I did for years, but unless you're hitting a lot of balls and you're really good at it, if you hit that shaft, you're going to be sorry. All right? And you look at the way VJ does the drill is he stays outside the stick the whole time. Notice how he's closer to the stick on the way down than he is when he started. See, there's a little more space there. Let me clear that line out of the way. There's a little more space there. When he comes down, there's a little less space. And the neat part about this is here he's using an old broken shaft and a bottle of water, and he'll probably get on TV and tell you how you need to buy this swing playing trainer for $299.99. He's using a shaft and a bottle of water. So I'm telling you, just go to the hardware store, get these for $1, $2 at the most. Now, let's keep going here. Now, I've taken that same setup, see, and I'm going outside, outside. Notice how I'm hinging the club up, up, up. Now, I come down inside the stick, and that's a gross exaggeration because that's actually too shallow. See? And hit the shot. So, having that practice buddy, because that's what I like to call these sticks. I call them my practice buddy because it gives you some feedback. You'll know whether you did it right or not because you just smack the stick and then you know, well, I must not have done this right. Let's go along. I shot some other ones here. Now here's another one where you can just use it for, see, right here is where you're going. But here's the path on the downswing. For those of you that are having trouble swinging over the top, and you have something there as a visual. See? You can do it like this without, just putting the two clubs. Take the club back on this line, bring it back down on this line. Now, here's an interesting one. You can take your sticks. Here you line one up where you're going here. Here's where you line one you're going there. I take the club. I've taken a stick and taped it onto my grip. And I try and get the plane pointed at the stick. Right here, it's pointed at the stick. Now, there are those that will argue that, wait a minute, pointed at the golf ball is not the way to be on plane. And there's both sides of that argument. Another one could be, no, you really should be above and parallel. I don't know that that matters as much as whichever one of the two that you are, that you do it every time. And you have a way of knowing. So I like this kind of method because at least I can see where I'm pointed. Same thing here. I go out on that stick, come down on this one, see? And as I fight to try and keep the club on this stick, it helps me extend out more, which is what I want to do. So that's basically all the stick. Yeah, that's about one of the. Now I'm going to make some more because there are more things you can do with these sticks. But right now this will be series number 1. We had to come up with a fancy name. There you go. See? You see how I'm rotating the club over right here? Look, boom, and extending out. So at least gives you what I like to call practice buddy, that you have at least a point of reference. Does that help? Something like that, to at least know what you're doing properly. You can always get all kinds of more ideas to try and improve your game at quickfixgolf.com.